Haven't done one of these in a while. Late night. It's not really late night, 10:35 p.m. 9 people lurking. Say hi. How's it going? How's everybody doing this evening? Well, it is kind of late over in the UK. It is, early, more early than late. It's 3 something, I believe. 3:36 or something like that. I don't know. Um, don't know how long I'm going to go for, but that all depends. If Hey Gareth, how are you? How you doing, buddy? I got your email. I'm going to check out the Hey Stephen, how are you? I'm going to check it out probably after I do this. I might check it out. If I have any gas left, I'm sure I will. I'm sure I will. But some energy. I figured it's been a while since I've done one of these, and I figured I'd come in and do it. Why not? I was watching Matt's live earlier, sporadically popping in. Wasn't able to watch the whole thing, but watched some of it. Yeah. And just hold on, just reading this. Hold on. Let's just Wayne, how are you? Good to see you, man. As I was saying, it's early over there. What is it, 3:37, something like that? You guys are still 5 hours ahead, I believe. 5 hours. Hey, B, how are you? Good to see you. Subconscious, yeah. 3:37. That means we can play some mind tricks. Subconscious mind tricks. uh, yeah. Yeah, I go for a little while anyways. See what's going on. Let me throw this out. I mean, anyone's welcome to pop in if they so feel like it. Pinned. Vaulty Towers, yes. Vaulty Towers. You got to be up at 7. Wow, and that's yeah. Not gonna get much sleep there, Gareth. Thankfully, I don't have to get up early tomorrow myself, so hence the reason why I'm doing this as well. Yeah, hence the reason why. There's been a lot of crap going on. Just crazy stuff around the world. I mean, it's a constant thing, but just I don't know, just some weird shit. And I mean, here in Canada, where I'm situated in Ontario, close to Toronto, things are getting crazy. Crazy. Very, very crazy. Crime wise. No, I'm not mentioning that. But just crime wise, here in the GTA, it's getting to be ridiculous. Thankfully, I'm outside the GTA, but it's crazy. And I had a weird thing happen. The other day in the studio. the studio. Like I said, I'm rearranging the studio and building some new furniture for it. Um, and just some really weird stuff happening. And no, not my chair. Yeah, that's another thing I got to do. I got to get a new chair. This chair it's got to go. It's just too friggin' squeaky. It's I'm surprised it's lasted me this long. It was Faulty Towers quote. Yes, they had some German guests. You know what? I have to watch Faulty Towers again. It's been such a long time. I love that show. Didn't they revive it for a bit or something? Hey, Michael, how are you? Didn't they revive it? I hope it probably didn't do well because, I mean, you can't recapture the essence of a show like that. Hey, Barry, how are you? Good to see you, man. You know, you can't recreate a show like that, like the essence of it. It was just so perfect. The humor was just great. No problem, Michael. Like I said, this was last minute, anyways. I wasn't even going to do it, and then I go, why not? You know, I've got some time. I don't have an early morning. I've got uh, I've got a little bit of wind in me, so I figured, hey, plus I've got my Space Raiders, the larger bag, which is very, very hard to find here in Canada. And when the local British shop had it, I'm like, no brainer, no brainer. So yeah, Siamese hamster. Yeah, a lot of the quotes are familiar, and I do remember them. Like I said, it's been a long time since I've watched Faulty Tower, but I remember really enjoying it. Really enjoying it. You know, it is. Really, quite different from Monty Python, but you do get the Monty Python vibes, obviously, from John Cleese, but it's on a whole different level. The humor it's just hilarious, and I think it kind of still holds up today. I'm not sure. Old Cottage. I'll just read what you're saying, Gareth. It is recorded a house on the street is haunted, but don't know which one. Hmm. Well, you gotta love you have to love strangeness. Honestly, what would this world be without strangeness? No matter what, whether you believe it or not, it makes things more exciting. I think. Uh, you know, I think obviously, the world would be boring if there was strangeness, mysterious, yet to be explained experiences. Yeah, normal is boring. Normal is very, very boring. It's just absolutely boring. I don't think I can handle normal. I mean, well, in ways, it is kind of normal if you want to think of it that way. It is kind of normal. I mean, it to me, anyways. I mean, to some people, it's not normal, but I'm used to weirdness and strangeness. Um, I've had, like I said, I've had experiences that I can't explain. You know, in fact, one of the experiences I had years ago, about 20 years ago, give or take 20 years ago, my encounter with an unusual animal uh, while walking home from work one night. Um, it's actually my story is actually a part of Strickler's new book. Yeah, let me just pull it up here. Lon Strickler's new book called, let me just pull it up here. The Meme Humanoids. Uh, and I don't know if I can't find the PDF. Oh, wait. PDFs of it, anyways, but the story's in there. It's not the first time my story has made it into a book. It's also in our good friend. Hey, Laura. Hey, Cheryl. How are you? Chris Hawley, who sadly is no longer with us, wrote it. She had a blog for years, and she was writing for, you know, several publications, including UFO Digest, which she wrote about my story, and it was included in UFO Digest. It's also in her book as well. And the book was, yeah, I mean, it's interesting reading other people, kind of, write about your experience. And you don't always agree with how they lay it out, and you're like, oh wait, I didn't say that. That's not what I meant, or whatever. I mean, well, thank you. Thank you. I'm glad it sounds spot on. How do I do it? I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you. But it's interesting, people, authors and other people, you know, writing about the experience, even though you've, laid it flat out for them, and they sort of, you know, give you their take on the experience that I went through the information that I feed them. And Chris Hawley's version was really good, but Lon Strickler's was, I I like it. It's cool, but there was a lot of stuff that he had mentioned that just no, it just no, it's not how it happened. His explanation of my experience, I don't know, maybe he had, I don't know, his attention wasn't full. It wasn't as it played out as he wrote it. And you know what? I'm shocked. I had to have somebody else tell me that it was in his book. I didn't get a notification or anything about it being in the book. Oh, hey, it's cool as long as I have credit. I don't care, but um, it's weird how it plays out that way. But um, when I finally read the piece, I was kind of pissed, I guess. I mean, he's a well-respected uh, collector of stories of the unusual, mostly cryptid. Phantoms and Monsters is his website. He's well known, but I just the way the story came out, the way he wrote it, I'm like, man, you know, it's not how it played out. And I mean, do I want to be like a total dick and contact him and say, man, thank you for writing the piece on my experience, but that's not how it played out. I mean, you partially got it right, but for the most part, yeah, it just it's not how how it played out. And I mean, I don't know if I've told you guys about my experience. I'm sure I have. You know, I mean, I could tell you again if you want. I mean, I don't know if anybody in chat has ever heard this story or not. I mean, I've mentioned it a few times on the show, so over the years. And in fact, there's a piece on in the archives, Nocturnal Night Shots 1, the first episode. We go into details about it. But yeah, I don't know. Hearing it again, I don't know if you've ever heard it, Michael. I don't think you've ever heard the story. I mean, I could tell you again. I mean, I could bring it to life again. All right. I'll I'll tell it again. Um, I was working the midnight shift, overnight shift, and I was finished early. One I think it was like 2 a.m. in the morning, and I would always walk home, and you know what? I it was about a 2 hour walk, but I didn't give a shit. I just the night that early in the morning, it was usually peaceful, and just I love walking at night, and suburbia, and part of my route home was over a bridge over a river, and the bridge was sectioned in two and had a grassy knoll, and then of course a space in between the two bridges as you go over the river. And I'm walking up to this bridge on the right side, and as I'm approaching the bridge, and again this is like 2:30 in the morning, something like that. Very peaceful, no cars on the road, very quiet. I mean, I've got my headset on. I'm listening to of all things coast to coast. I do remember listening to Art Bell. I was listening to Art Bell. And that's part of the reason why I loved walking home because I can listen to the full show, 2 hours, I didn't give a shit, you know? But anyways, and I wish I had like a cell phone back. I probably did, but I could have called into coast to coast with my story. But I'm walking up to the bridge, and then all of a sudden, on the other side of the road, right? Again, there's two roads, and then you had a grassy knoll approaching bridge, the bridges, and as I'm getting closer, I notice something coming up from underneath the bridge on the other side. I'm like, what what is that? So I stop and I'm watching this thing. And my first thought is, okay, it's a coyote or something. It looks like a coyote or something. And it's walking on all fours across the one road. And it slows down because it notices me on the other side. I'm like, okay, here we go. We're gonna have a standoff or something. But my sort of my trail running, sort of hiking, sort of you know uh, you know thoughts going full force and going, okay, look, just stop and just observe and don't make any quick movements or anything like that. So I'm watching this thing and it walks on all fours to the grassy knoll where there was a tree. There was a tree right in the middle of the two bridges on that grassy knoll. And it stopped right in front of the tree. It stopped and it's looking at me and it's looking at me. And then all of a sudden, it stood up on its hind legs. I'm like, okay, what the hell? Okay, I'm thinking, what kind of animal is this? Standing perfectly on its hind legs. And when it stood up on its hind legs, it was probably about, I would, gauging by that tree, close to probably about 5 foot tall. And I'm like, nah, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. It's a bear or something, but there's no bear in the area, and it's long and thin. No, it's not a bear. It can't be a bear. There are no bear in this area. And I'm like, okay, and this thing is standing there, it's standing there, it's standing there. And it was probably close to 10 minutes. And with every minute, that went by, I'm like, I just this doesn't make sense. A canine couldn't last that long on its hind legs. It's too tall for a raccoon or a squirrel or anything like that. It's just too tall. A deer? No, it couldn't have been a deer. And I'm thinking about all the animals that are native to the area, and none of them made sense. None of them. And as we continue to stare each other down, I'm like, okay, is this thing gonna take off anytime soon? Is it gonna start charging me or what? I don't know. And I'm just standing there staring, and then finally, after a good 10 minutes, at least 10 minutes, it dropped down to back to on all fours and then walked to my side of the bridge and then went underneath the bridge. And right there and then, I walked gingerly, keeping an eye on that, underneath the bridge to make sure this thing wasn't coming up. Hey, Faith, how are you? You know, I'm watching and watching and watching. I got on the bridge and I started, walking a little bit more quicker. Hey, Melissa, how are you? Yeah, yeah, I called by accident. I couldn't hear your message very well. Your message was very, very muffled and very low, so I could only get a little bit, make out a little bit of your message. So, uh, yeah, absolutely, Wayne. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You can pop up. Anybody can pop up. Don't mind at all. Um, and it's gone. And you know what? I really didn't think too much of it for a few years after that, just other than it was a weird experience. And then when I started doing this show back in 2008, um, it came up again. And I'm like, yeah, I remember I had this experience. Um, I want to try to explain what I might have seen or what I've experienced. What it just so I started talking to a whole bunch of people, like hunters, people who work in zoos, veterinarians, so on and so on. Just different people that could give me a closer sort of an idea of what I might have been, you know, what I came across. And they couldn't figure it out. They couldn't say. They didn't know what it was. And then I remember doing more research into this, and then I stumbled upon this article from 1978 in Toronto. It was actually on the front page of the Toronto Sun, and it simply said Toronto tunnel creature. I'm like, and there was an artist rendition of what the guy had experienced, and I'm like, wow, that looks almost exactly like what I saw, minus the glowing eyes. I didn't see any glowing eyes, right? But this, I'm like, what the hell? And let me see here. Let me see if I can pull it up here. And again, I'll show you the article. Let me see. I'll just images of it. So this is the artist rendition here. Where are we? Okay, kind of like again, this is an artist interpretation of it. Let me just and again, it's close, like kind of similar to what I saw, minus the hold on, minus the red eyes. But this is kind of what I experienced, kind of, right? Let's see. Here's the article here. Let me see if I can blow this up a bit. Actually, let me just I'm going to see if I can get the full article. Where's it? Here's the article here. I guess that is a full article. I'm trying to find a better way of here to. No, it keeps going to the same thing, so screw it. Screw it. Anyways, I came across the tunnel, the Toronto tunnel monster creature or whatever you want to call it, and you know, trying to explain, it was just really really tough. What I had experienced, I really don't know, and like I said, I'm not jumping to conclusions. I will not jump to conclusions other than it was unusual. It was an unusual event. Um, I've encountered many animals. Obviously, like I said, I was an avid hiker, and trail runner, and I would come across all sorts of animals. Um, but none of them made sense. Like none of them would match up to what I experienced that night or early that morning. So what was it? I don't know. Could it be in relation to the Toronto Tunnel creature? I mean, that was a scenario theory because underneath that bridge was a storm drain runoff. And if anybody knows anything about those storm drains, they go for miles underneath underground for miles. Now, you know, you never know. You never know. Yeah, apart from bears. And bears again, they will go down, they'll stand up for a little while and then they'll go down to all fours again. But this, even if it was a mangy bear, there are no bear in this area. None. Absolutely none. It's weird. Crazy. Absolutely nuts. Absolutely nuts. Wayne, how are you, sir?
I'm good, thank you. Yourself?
Good. Can't complain. Good. Can't complain. What do you think I encountered?
What do I think? Um, like you say, it may have been a coyote. Who knows? But at the end, I think you mentioned the fact that he got up on its back two legs. But it actually walking on its back two legs?
It wasn't walking, it was standing. It stood there for a good almost 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's a that's a strange one, is that, isn't it?
It's crazy. It's good. That's what I mean. That's what freaked me out. It's like, okay, wait a sec. What am I looking at here? This makes no sense at all. None. None.
No,
Crazy.
no, I can't think of any other animal that do that sort of thing, unless it's like you say, a cryptid or something like that. But who knows?
Who knows? And I've gone back there. I don't know how many times to see if we witness anything again, but it was weird because when Chris Hawley wrote the story, I think she called the thing on the bridge. When that went out, she got a whole bunch of emails and phone calls about people who had experienced in that area a similar similar sort of thing. And I'm like, that's crazy. Like years later, that people are experiencing this, and I'm like, okay, maybe there is something going on. Who knows? Who knows?
It might have been your mind playing tricks on you. Um,
I'd like to
always,
say, I'd like to say it's my mind playing tricks on me, but I was wide awake, man. I was like, I'm like, okay, this is crazy. It's just
yeah,
crazy.
always a possibility though. I mean, I'm sometimes sat in the house and sometimes I'll see things moving at the side of me, and you guarantee you look round and there's not there. It's just little things kind of just play tricks on your mind at times.
Oh,
But I have
absolutely.
seen, yeah, I have seen. I have come across something similar. Obviously, not something stood up on its back legs, but
Mhm.
I was in a taxi from Leeds to Bradford, which is about 15 miles from where I lived. And this, I'm going back about 15 years ago. Um, just sat in the back of the taxi with me and my ex-wife,
Hmm.
and we're on like a main road, which is like a dual carriageway.
Yeah.
And as we're actually driving along, not exactly in a built-up area where we were, down the embankment, I saw like a dark black cat running down. Cat shot across the road,
Wow.
quite impeccable speed, and this thing was huge. You could tell it wasn't a household cat, and it just shot in front of us. And I looked at my missus. I'm like, "Did I see right there?" Because when he actually came onto the road, I actually leant forward on the seat at the back to actually see if I could actually, if my eyes were seeing right, you know. And then I turned around and I says, "Did you see what I saw then?" And then I just turned around. And I said to the taxi driver, "I says, did you see that?" And the taxi driver just turned around to me and says, "Yeah, I did." And obviously, this was like a large black panther or cougar or something that had
Wow.
run across the road. And it's just a strange sighting, especially where I live. You know what I mean? So I've never experienced anything kind of like that myself, apart from just that, which is really weird. You know,
And
uh,
they're what? They're not native to that area, are they?
they're not, they're not at all. But you could tell this wasn't a household cat. You know, um, but yet nobody's seen these out in the wild. Um, Nothing's been reported of them being out in the wild. No escapes from zoos being reported of them being out in the wild and things like that. But
Yeah.
it was just an unusual experience that day.
Well, yeah, that would be, and that's what I mean. I mean, even if it is something that a Black Panther, whatever else, it's wait a sec. This isn't local. What the hell? What's going on here? This is insane.
Yeah,
That would be definitely yeah. Wow. Okay, that's definitely an experience and a half.
I think it's exactly kind of the experience that you had yourself, I believe, by the sounds of what your story were like. Similar sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite possible, obviously, that it could have been, maybe it was a mangy bear. I don't know, but the thing is, there are no bear in that area, and I mean, but that doesn't mean there couldn't have been a stray bear there. There could have been. There could have been. I mean, yeah, absolutely. Anything is possible, and that's the way I've always looked at it. Right.
Yeah.
Other than
Well, sure, there's
okay,
sure,
yeah. Other than whatever happened, it was definitely really screwed up. You
yeah,
know.
exactly. I'm sure there's a logical reason for everything.
Well, yeah, there always is, right? Well, most of the time, 90% of the time there is. I mean, there's always that, wait, what the hell just happened? Moment. So, yeah, yeah. Have you had many strange occurrences throughout your life at all?
Ghostly encounters. I've had quite a few actually.
So, but what I like, Wayne, is you're a pretty skeptical guy, right? I mean, you like to be pretty skeptical, and so when you've had a ghostly experience, do you try your best to try to okay, wait a sec, do you downplay it or do you go okay, wait a sec? I mean, what goes through your head when you have these kind of experiences?
I have to try and pause and
Yeah,
um, be realistic around it, and basically try to debunk it, what it could have been,
yeah,
what were happening at the time, and so on. But there's a few experiences that you just kind of can't explain, and you tell the stories, and no matter how many times you tell the stories, you just can't get your head around it.
mm. So you've had a couple ghostly experiences, like you want to tell us?
Yeah, I will tell you a couple. One I've actually mentioned in a chat before. In
Yeah,
fact, I think I've mentioned it on Jimmy's screen, where it's
yeah,
Jimmy's stream on a Discord or something.
yeah.
Which there was one time during the middle of in the middle of the night in his bedroom, because there's me and my partner staying in the same bedroom as
Mm,
my sister at the moment, because she's staying at our house, so she's got nowhere else to live at the moment, unfortunately.
yeah,
So we had our bed on one side of the bedroom. She had her bed on the other side of the bedroom.
yeah.
And I woke up, and it must have been about 4 o'clock in the morning. I kind of woke up, kind of on my belly, kind of lifted myself off the bed, turned across and looked over towards the middle of the room, and I saw like a ghostly shadow, what I can only kind of describe as a black mist.
Hmm.
I would class it as a shadow, but it wasn't against a wall like most shadows. But this was a black mist, and I just found it rather strange. So I kind of laid back down, being kind of thinking, am I seeing right here? Because it's like obviously we're in shape of a figure.
Hmm.
Um, but the next morning, I woke up. We came downstairs, and I was telling my partner this story, as well
Hmm.
as my sister-in-law. And what I actually got from my sister-in-law, because we've lived in this house for like 5 years and nothing's happened in this house apart from that night.
Yeah.
I told her the story. She said she woke up at practically at exactly the same time,
Hmm.
looked round, and she also saw a black figure in the middle of the bedroom.
Wow.
And she said that this must have been about the same time that I woke up.
Hmm.
So when we described the size and the shape of the figure and where it was situated in the bedroom,
Hmm.
the stories were so complete, so to speak. They just fit together, and
Hmm.
it just kind of, even though the stories clicked, it still doesn't make any sense to this day what it was, because we're at totally different sides of the bedroom, looking in towards the middle of the bedroom, and there's this black silhouette stood there in the middle of the bedroom.
Has it prompted you to like try to like under okay wait maybe something happened there or whatever something.
I wish I knew, but as far as I know, there's nothing happened here whatsoever.
Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. From
I've had some weird shit happen. Like especially, I remember one time I was, I was asleep and well, at least I think seemingly asleep, but there was a point when, for some odd reason, I became conscious, and at least I seemed like I was conscious in a conscious state, and I just see what this figure kind of floating across the one wall to the bottom of our bed and coming towards the side I was on, and my arm was overhanging outside the covers or whatever else, and I just see this thing coming over towards my arm, and all of a sudden I had this really overwhelming warmth on my arm. I'm like, okay, wait, am I having a nightmare? Am I having a dream? Because this just seems so damn real, you know. I mean, how do you tell if you're awake or not? It just
you
it's
know,
weird.
that's exactly. But when I woke up and saw this silhouette, um, I just kind of passed it off as must be seeing things.
Mhm.
But when I told my sister-in-law the next morning, and she told me she'd witnessed the same thing at about exactly the same time in the same place, then that kind of puts questions over my head.
Well,
But
obviously, yeah.
yeah,
I
um,
mean, too,
first time, yeah, first time any of us has seen anything like that in the house.
Yeah, it's people, yeah, two separate accounts, same sort of thing. Yeah, that's insane. That's crazy. That would make me question things for sure.
Yeah,
And I mean, obviously, as much as you want to try to debunk it, you're sitting there going, okay, it's hard to like sort of ignore when another person has a similar experience as you in the same sort of area, and okay, something's going on. What about sound? Was there any sound or just
no,
visual?
I didn't hear any sound. It was just visual.
Just visual, huh? Wow, that's insane. That'd be that I've got my hairs are standing up. I love hearing stories like that though. That is
Yeah,
so cool. That is so cool. Yeah. I mean, I think that's what's always made me sort of so intrigued with the paranormal, even though a lot of stuff can be explained. Yeah, I get it. But they're just the experiences alone, rather they can be explained or not. You can't deny the experiences,
yeah,
period. No matter what. A
yeah,
person has an experience, and you listen to them as they're explaining it, and you're like, wow, I've got chills. This is crazy, you know?
yeah. I've had another similar story to that as well.
Oh yeah?
Almost identical.
Okay.
But this was in a different property. This was when I was with my ex-wife.
Yeah.
I remember sleeping in bed one night.
Mhm.
Once again, this time it must have been about 2 o'clock when I woke up, and I decided to sit up and look over my wife, who was asleep at the time,
Mhm.
because I saw something out of the corner of my eye, sort of thing. And I lifted my head up, looked over the top of her, and I noticed a little figurine of a girl, and
Oh,
she
wow.
was so clear and transparent. I can even remember that she had a white blouse with a red skirt with um, like red straps that went over the top of the blouse as well. And this image was just so clear, and I kept on closing my eyes, opening them, blinking. What I seen things, I never actually opened my mouth. I never said no, and I just kept on laying down, sitting back up again to see if the little girl was still stood there. And slowly, she just started slowly evaporating as I was actually
Hmm.
watching. It was just strange because she must have been stood there for about 2 or 3 minutes, and she just slowly started to disappear.
That would be crazy.
Yeah, sometimes I have to question my own sanity. Sometimes,
I get yeah, yeah, you would be, right? And it's like, okay, wait, what did I just see, or what did I just see? Yeah, that's insane. When you see things like that, yeah. Like,
yeah.
I
I
I
mean, I
I
claim I've seen ghosts and or witnessed paranormal things, but even then, I'm still a skeptic about it. I still don't know whether it's real or not. I can't even clarify what that was at the time, whether it was my mind playing tricks on me. I mean, what crosses my mind at the time with that one in particular, it's possible that I might have been dreaming of a girl in my sleep and the picture's etched in my brain. So when I've woken up, the picture is still etched in my brain, and I'm
mm,
actually seeing what I
it's
was visually dreaming about.
yeah, I mean, yeah, that's absolutely a possibility. Oh, yeah, yeah, definitely. But nonetheless, it'd still be pretty freaky. You know? Like, can see yourself, when you see this little girl, "Whoa, whoa, 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 what are you? Who are you? What are you doing here?" Like, "What's going on here?" Oh, I'd be especially just waking up, right? And there's somebody standing there.
Yeah, I would just try to pass it off as though I'm seeing things really, I just like pass it off. But when I'm kind of laying back down and getting back up again and the figurine's still there, I'm like, no, this is strange, is this, but
I,
I
I
don't know.
remember I remember having a case. This single mom, she contacted me, and her son, who was 7 at the time, wouldn't sleep in his own bed. He'd only sleep with his mom in her bed because he was frightened. Because he was saying that every night there was a man standing at the corner of his bed, and she tried everything. She couldn't figure out what was going on, why, and took him to a psychiatrist, doctor, you name it. Oh, we can give him some medication, whatever. But she didn't want to do that. So, when she contacted us, she's like, "Yeah, I hope you don't think I'm crazy." I'm like, "No, nothing's crazy. I mean, you never know. Let's have a look at this, right?" So I remember going to her apartment, and going into his room, and just taking some readings and so on and so on. And I noticed that the headboard, there was some crazy, EMF readings. Okay, this is unusual. This is very, very high. Let's see if we can find where this is coming from. And so I went to the other side of the wall, and on the other side of the wall, that wall was the kitchen. And right there was a microwave. And the microwave, I'm reading the microwave, and it's shooting off the charts, and it's not even live. So I'm like, it shouldn't be shooting off the charts. It's not live. It doesn't make sense. And I pulled the cord up a bit, and noticed the cord had this huge gash in it. So it was live. And I'm like, okay, that's not good, right? So I told them, I said, look it, let's give this a shot. I'm almost certain this is probably what your son's problem is, but let's give it a shot. Your son he's probably been exposed to EMF, like high EMF, for a long time, and it could be causing him to have hallucinations, right, while he's sleeping. And she's like, What do you mean EMF? Frequencies that you can't see, but I mean they're there. They're emitted. They could be anything from electrical to radiation, you name it." And I told her, I said, "Look at, either you get yourself a new microwave, tape that gash up, move your son's bed to an area that doesn't have an active receptacle, and let's see if that works. See if that works." And she went ahead, she did that. She got herself a new microwave, and I heard from her, like, I guess 6 to 8 weeks later, and she said everything's fine. He hasn't had an issue since. I said, so most likely that was probably the issue. And people don't realize EMF, they simply, think, oh, EMF, that is detecting a ghost. It's got nothing to do with detecting a ghost.
It detects electric, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah. It's detecting. You go in there and use it properly, and this is what happens. You explain, or at least somewhat explain what's going on in a location. And there's a prime example. But that's the thing. I mean, are people hallucinating? Are people seeing ghosts? Or, I mean, look at it this way. I mean, you look at years ago in the 70s, when a bunch of people got together, and they tried to they had that experience, that create the ghost, Philip, right? So they literally made everything up, and call this supposed person that they're going to try to make contact with, Philip. And then all of a sudden, shit started going down. I guess because of all the energy they're expending on, thinking, okay, we're going to make contact with this supposed ghost, uh, Philip, did they actually will it to become true? I mean, are we capable of doing that? Are we capable of willing a ghost? You know, our psyches. We don't know. We this could be like a something to do with our psyches. We don't know, right? I mean,
Yeah,
there's
exactly.
you know,
I mean, it
you know
sounds to me like the naked cable was setting off like an electrical circuit loop going off in the house and uh,
exactly.
creating off various frequencies, like radio frequencies, for example, can
Yeah,
interfere with brain patterns.
yeah, and it's just it was off the charts. It was like amazing how high it was. And I just couldn't believe it. Like, cause I mean, his receptacle that he had by his bed wasn't the giving off a lot of frequency, but when you moved it over a little bit closer to the center of the bed, that's where the microwaves was on the other side. It was going nuts. It was going nuts.
God.
Yeah. So low doses for a long period of time, high doses for short period of time can have been known to cause hallucinations, can wreak
Yeah,
havoc. People just don't understand that, but it's like carbon monoxide, right? Same thing. Carbon
yeah,
monoxide can make you sick, but you can't see it. If we didn't have detectors, we wouldn't know.
yeah. Can't see it or smell it.
Yeah, right? Silent killer, right?
Yeah,
Just I mean, look at years ago with germs. We didn't know what germs were. We didn't have a clue what germs were. And then finally, we figured it out. But I mean, these are things that science has been able to sort of explain over the years through detection. And now, slowly we're starting to learn more. But I mean, yeah, I mean, who knows? Who knows what is actually causing these sort of, the experience that you had with that little girl figure that you'd seen, and before that black mass sort of thing. I mean, that's crazy. The black mass, that's freaky.
yeah.
Like how
It's I have had more experience as well, but I'll probably save them for a rainy day, so to speak.
so what is it about the paranormal that you like though? Because I mean, you're a pretty skeptical guy, so I mean, you probably figure a lot of it can be debunked. But I mean, what is it about the paranormal that you like?
For me, it's the uncertainty and the unknown about it all.
Yeah.
It's that mysteriousness of wanting to know and wanting to find out. I think I've always been into the paranormal since I was, well, as young as I can remember, to be honest.
Hmm.
Anything with anything strange and mysterious, I'm into, whether it be cryptids, Bigfoot, um, conspiracies, anything like that. I've always been into. I just find it so interesting. Things that can't be explained.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of us. I think all. I'd probably say all of us, but there are people that aren't willing to admit it because they think, yeah, I'm not into that crazy shit. But I mean, I think everybody is tuned into it because I mean, when you look at the big question, the one of the biggest questions is what happens to us after we die, right? I mean, people are like, oh, okay, well, do we become ghosts or whatever? I don't know. But I think everybody's intrigued by it. I mean, when you tell somebody that you had a weird experience, they're like all ears. Oh wow, that's pretty creepy. You
Yeah.
know, they love hearing the stories, right? I mean, you go into investigate a location, and I always get. I hope you don't think I'm crazy. Right? No, 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 no. If anybody's crazy, it's me for coming out and investigating this stuff, right?
Yeah, as soon as
But,
you mention that, people's ears start pricking up, don't they?
oh, yeah,
But obviously, this sort of thing with the paranormal and afterlife and so forth. It's been going on for centuries and thousands of years, such as the Egyptians, where the
Mhm,
pharaohs were buried with the slaves and things like
mhm,
that. So they can, and even with armor and weaponry, so they can actually move on into the afterlife with
mhm.
something there to protect them in the afterlife.
Well,
It's
you
it's
know,
amazing,
I was talking about the Tibetan Book of the Dead the other day, right?
right?
And when you look at that, when you look at it and when you read that book and go, wow, oh wow, this is just intriguing. That how it's written it's so certain as to how these are the steps of how things are played out after you die. And you're like, we don't know. We can assume, but I mean, they're so certain that that's exactly what happens. There's like three stages or whatever, and then you have a enlightenment, or you're rebirthed, right? You're reborn. But I mean, who's to say? I mean, just that's just insane. Um, to even think of what happens. Like all the stuff that would be going through your mind through that transition.
Yeah,
If
I
you,
think it put people's minds at ease as well if they think that there's an afterlife, and then there's not something to be scared of when as well once we've finished this life on Earth, so to speak. So once there's that afterlife, I
Mhm.
think it secures people's minds. To be honest, when we know that there's something there.
Wouldn't that be crazy? I don't think I've ever really kind of thought about this, but I mean, wouldn't it be really crazy, if you are reincarnated or there is a rebirth or whatever else.
Oh yeah,
The possibility of it being somewhere else in the universe. Wouldn't that be crazy? Like that, it's just that you're just not confined to the Earth. You can go anywhere in the universe, and there's another intelligent, uh, you know, being, culture, whatever elsewhere in the universe. I mean, the possibility of the rebirth or reincarnation being there rather than here. Wouldn't that be crazy?
yeah. I
If that
mean,
was a
there's loads of theories that we actually came from Mars originally. There's all sorts of possibilities. Some of these theories and myths can be true. I'm not saying that one is true, like, but it's but it's
you,
just
you,
things
you,
like this really do put your mind at the test, don't they? They really do test you.
you could be like good old Monty Python and say, hey, look at, are you a football fan?
Yeah,
What's your team?
soccer. Sorry,
What's your team? What's your football team?
Leeds United.
You're a Leeds fan.
Yes,
So what's your arch enemy? What's Leeds' arch enemy?
Manchester United.
Manchester. So wouldn't that be crazy if you were reincarnated as a Manchester fan?
Oh no! Please, kill me now.
Yeah, that'd be insane. But I mean that's what I mean. Just the insanity of what things that you could okay, Cheryl's like, but would you remember your past life? And I think I mean, is that what deja vu is? I mean,
Deja vu.
is that you just you go through periods where you just something seems so familiar. You go to a place that you've never been to, but yet it feels so familiar. I mean, yeah, I mean, is that a possibility? I don't know. Would you remember a past life? Who knows, right? I mean, I don't think it's outside the scope. You never know, right? I mean, there are a lot of people that do have sort of these memories and thoughts and so on of what just seemingly isn't it's not really part of my past life, but it is. It's so familiar. It's so weird. I'm just reading here. Yeah, Spectrum.
Well, if I was a reborn Manchester United fan, I'd certainly want to forget it.
Yeah. But but
Uh,
then but 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 then you'd be you wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter. You'd be a Manchester fan, right? You'd be you'd be going into the game with Leeds and booing Leeds, right?
yeah, don't you swearing at me, calling you Manchester.
or,
Oh
or
no.
or it could be worse, right? It could be Tottenham, right?
Oh, I don't mind Tottenham at all.
Oh, you don't mind Tottenham?
No,
No, not as bad as Manchester.
no.
Yeah, that's yeah, it's weird. I mean, there's so many different things that we could kind of, kind of latch on with the paranormal. It's just it's crazy. I mean, and that's the thing. Anything, if you kind of look at it, anything goes. Anything. Anything is possible.
Yeah,
Uh,
I've often been to places and been in various pubs, for example. I'm like to myself, thinking to myself, a place looks familiar. I'm sure I've been in before, like, on different locations and towns and cities. I feel like I've been there before. I get that quite a lot, but I never think to myself, oh, I must be reincarnated. I must have been here in my past life. Like, it probably just places and parts of it probably remind me of somewhere I've been or something like that.
psst, psst, Wayne. I hate to tell you, Wayne, but you are a Manchester United fan. Uh,
Shucks.
I know that. Yeah, yeah. I've had that a few times. I've had that where I've gone into somewhere where, yeah, it's just I've never. It's just seems so familiar. This is weird. Just a weird feeling, like familiarity. Just really weird. Really
I
weird.
mean, we could have already had this conversation before.
Well, we're creating energy, and energy is infinite. You never know, right? I mean, we might have had echoes in time. How does a salmon remember to swim upstream to reproduce? True. I mean,
Yeah,
true. The simple things in life. Because I mean, to us that seems simple. Well, hey, every fall when autumn when salmon swim upstream to reproduce, and it's like, sure, it's a spectacle for us, but I mean, think about the hardship they're going through, trying swimming up the stream to get to where they got to get to and spawn. But yeah, it's crazy, man. Crazy.
it is. I'd rather give up and, like, lay my eggs further downstream. Like, I can't be bothered swimming up there.
Exactly. Exactly. Do you guys have salmon runs there too?
We do, yeah, especially
Yeah.
in Scotland mainly.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
salmon can swim right into my mouth right now and with chili on it. Yeah. Chili and salmon. Well, I don't think I've ever had chili and salmon.
it's nice. I've actually tried that myself.
Yeah, good.
Yeah,
I'll
good.
I'll have to give it a shot. I love salmon on cedar plank and smoked. God, now I'm hungry. I want salmon. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Steven. Good. So yeah, that's cool, man. I mean that's cool that you've had to. Oh wait, just Laura's weekend and watching the fisherman. Yeah, yeah. We just went through it. Yeah, here late September, early October through it. Just a little bit into October, and then that's it. And the poor guys are that's or what's left of them are just dead, dead.
Yeah,
Eggs everywhere, but they're dead. Kind of sucks, but um, I was just reading the chat there.
yeah. I don't have chat on screen at the moment, unfortunately. But hi to everyone.
Oh, you don't? You don't have it
No,
in
not at
there?
the moment. I can put it on my TV screen, but with these
Oh,
glasses on, I can't see jack shit. Oh, sorry for
that's
swearing.
fine. That's fine.
Uh,
No worries. No worries. That's why no worries. I don't worry. You can
sorry,
say
I'm not.
whatever. You can
Yeah, I'm
say
not one for
whatever you want.
swearing, honestly.
Swearing is fine. It's not like we don't do it. Just said perfectly still and I'm just yeah, so that like I said, that first story they shared, that was pretty creepy, the black figure. So were you able to see like a figure, or was it just a
It
mask?
was it was a figure, a tall figure, kind of. The only way I could probably describe it easiest as a silhouette is like a monk figure,
Oh
like a
wow.
silhouette with you see the head and then
Yeah.
the body and the outline,
Yeah.
and that's probably the best way I could probably describe it as.
Yeah, that's insane.
I see Laura still in chat.
Yeah, Laura's there, yeah. Laura's still there.
Yeah, it seems strange being on the other side of the TV screen. You know, like me usually typing and Laura usually. I'm usually watching Laura. You know.
Yeah, and now she's watching you.
Yeah,
Do you come up much on live streams at all?
I've been on a couple. I've been on a. I've asked questions on a few of Jimmy's before, and
Yeah.
I've been on Sarah's Fantastic Publishing before,
Yeah.
and I've
Yeah.
helped her out on the stream.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, it's always cool to get new people up. So it's always cool. Let me just make sure that's her. Yeah, Laura's saying now you're a movie star.
I wish.
Now you're a movie star.
So
So
I'm trying
I
to read the chat from the actual television, and
yeah.
you can't see the TV from me with these glasses.
So have you ever so have you any more experiences that you've had, or is that's pretty much it?
No, I have actually had a few more.
Oh
Uh,
wow.
yeah,
Any more you
but I
want to
don't
share?
want to go into them at the moment. I'd like to
No,
spread
no.
my stories out, if you know what I
Oh,
mean.
you
Just
want to
like,
spread them out. Gotcha,
yeah,
gotcha. Makes sense, makes sense.
yeah. I
Gotcha,
want to
understood.
keep people attracted, like you know.
That's cool. That's awesome. Let me just see here. Make sure I can wait. Maybe I could get no, that's not working. Okay. That's not gonna work. Uh, oh no, I'm just reading what Melissa wrote.
Yeah, I've never actually known you being on so late before.
It's funny when we because we do the radio show on Sunday nights between 9 and 10 or 9 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which I think is what 2 to 4 your time. We used to broadcast between 11 p.m. and 1 a.m. here, so that's what 4 and 6 a.m. your time.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I mean, we used to do late shows, but yeah, it's been a while since I've done a late one. I figured out why not. I've got a bit of time. Why not just pop in here and
yeah.
see
Well,
what
I
it?
have done radio shows before in the past, you know what I mean, but just online. So, no TV.
No TV, no TV,
Yeah, it's
huh?
always good just sitting back playing songs and kind of describing the songs and the bands and so forth on the radio channel. It's a lot easier to do it that way.
Yeah. Big music fan.
Yeah, huge music. I mean, that's only a part of my collection. Is that what you see in the background?
Oh
That's
yeah,
only like, not even a quarter of my CDs of them.
yeah.
But yeah, I've got over about 2,000 CDs in total.
Oh wow, big. It's nice seeing people still with physical media. I mean, I love it. I love it. Who's your favorite band?
I think some of the chat should probably know this. I like an artist called Ingve Malmsteen.
Oh yeah, Momstein. Yeah, yeah, I know Momstein. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
in fact, that's his picture in the background of
Oh
there.
yeah, right there. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I know. I'm familiar with him. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. That's
yeah. Just
awesome.
even though I can't play guitar, I just love the guy's music in general. You know,
Yeah,
I love that style of music, and it's the way that he plays the guitar. I just think it's fantastic, even though I think he's egotistical at the moment and rather arrogant, you know. But for me, it's his music that matters.
Yeah, it's funny. Barry's right. An old radio pirate here. Arr. um, yeah, it's funny how artists are like that, huh?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I
That,
think sometimes the fame sometimes goes to people ahead, doesn't it? Really,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know. I think,
They reach a certain plateau, and it's like, poof, and they think the world deserves. And hey, some people they get in a situation where it seems like it is, which is kind of scary. But what are you going to do, right? I used
yeah,
to
exactly.
Yeah, I remember the good old days of radio pirating. I remember those days.
Yeah,
Uh,
it was done online. There's a company called TBFM.
yeah,
Yeah, voted the best international online radio station.
yeah.
And yeah, I used to run one of my stations with a friend of mine. We used to call us radio show. We used to call it Sanitarium,
Oh yeah,
and we used to be like characters, pretending that was actually in a nut house, basically in padded cell. You know what I mean? So we used to bounce off each other,
yeah.
literally.
Oh,
Yeah, so we did that quite a while, and yeah, that went quite well.
that's cool. Yeah, that's neat. I mean, I used to years ago. I used to do a TV show on like a talk show TV show years ago, and on pirated TV on a pirated station here, local station, that I think probably about three or four people in the audience, like three or four people would ever watch. It was so pirated, not many people knew about it. I
I've
wish.
still got a handful of my shows somewhere floating around on memory sticks or something like that in my house somewhere, but that's when I come across them.
Yeah, yeah. I have what FM transmitter on my desk, and I mean dead bug style. Cool. And I think we've awoken that radio pirate and Steven up again. uh, it was cool though, when in the old days of the net though too, when you had a lot of piracy going on with the net too. I mean, there was some really cool shit that has kind of disappeared over the years because of how centralized the net has become now, which is kind of sad, you know.
Yeah, the best thing about it was discovering new music that you'd never heard before, whether it be guest people coming in with new CDs and bands that you'd never heard of, and you're playing this sort of thing, you know. It used to be awesome, you know, and you're like, oh, won't mind that myself, you know. Next day, go out, buy the album, play it on
Mhm.
your own stereo, and jobs are good. And
Yeah. Good night, Melissa. Yeah, it's yeah. I found, if anything, yeah, it expanded my it totally expanded my musical sort of horizons, if you will. There were so many bands. If it wasn't for, the net, I probably would never have ever figured out,
yeah,
you
I
know.
mean, my music's just basically rock, classic rock, and
Mhm.
metal. Apart from the odd one or two other bands that is like I won't class as any particular style, really. You know, just
Mhm.
maybe like Jean Michel Jarre that I like. Just something slightly different as opposed to rock and metal, to be honest. But everything else that I've got is just rock and metal.
I'm pretty much the same. Like I said, I'm pretty much the same. I mean, we're probably similar in age, right? I mean,
Yeah,
we're probably like the same kind of stuff. I mean, I do kind of like to stay up to speed with a lot of the new stuff though too. I'm pretty still finding these new bands that like wow, oh wow, it's kind of reminds me of a band that I used to listen to years ago and whatever. But I mean, there's some pretty interesting new bands out there. It's becoming sparse now because how the musical landscape is now. It's changed so much over the last 10 years, 5 to 10 years. It's just really weird.
yeah,
Well,
it is. So,
I think
do you have a favorite rock band yourself?
mine, oh God, I've got so many. I'm anything from Uriah Heep to 10 years after to you name it, man. I'm still love my Zeppelin
Yeah,
stuff. Yeah, you name it. Sabbath. I love whatever, man. I mean, it's I guess it's whatever mood I'm in that day, so to speak. I kind of like I'll get in and say, "Hey, listen, I haven't listened to this album in a while. I'm gonna listen to
Mm,
this." You know. But yeah,
yeah.
I like a lot of stuff. It's pretty broad.
Yeah, often times I come down and put CD on and just pick something at random, go in with my eyes closed and put it in and see what I'm listening to afterwards.
Yeah, well, it's I go through, well, I'm sure a lot of people do. I go through phases, right? Like I'll overkill a band and say, okay, I gotta stop. I gotta stop and just, put it to bed for a while. And then, all of a sudden, oh, I gotta listen to this album again. It's been a while.
When you
Yeah.
say overkill a band, are you talking about overkilling the band's music, or are you talking about
Yeah,
a
just
band
list
called
just like
Overkill?
listening to it so much that you're like, okay, I need a break.
Yeah,
I need to
yeah.
listen to something else. And
I wasn't too
it's
sure if you were talking about the band Overkill then.
oh well no, yeah, overkill, yeah. Um Cheryl likes listening to anything but opera.
Okay, listen to Nightwish. You've got opera in Nightwish.
Yeah. I you know th- I don't know. I I don't know. Do I like opera? No. I like actually, who I really like is a band called Goblin.
Goblin. Is it
Yeah.
Green Goblin?
No, there's a band called
No.
Goblin and they mostly scored films. They're an Italian progressive rock band. And I'm telling you, man, I fucking love them. And I especially the non-soundtrack stuff. I mean, their soundtrack stuff's great. I love their soundtrack stuff. But their non-soundtrack soundtrack stuff is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, very, 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 very good band. Um, but yeah, I like I said again, I can listen to the stuff over and over and over again. And then I just okay, just put it down for a while and give something else a chance. You know,
Yeah. Well, I know you like Pink Floyd.
I like Pink Floyd.
Do you?
Do I like? You know what? I like. I think I like Floyd's earlier stuff, like the early Floyd stuff.
Yeah. I was just kind of jumping at conclusions then by going down the route of bands that you mentioned, like so.
I don't mind Floyd. I mean, I did see Floyd 3. What it was, a Floyd 3 or whatever. I remember seeing that concert. Um, I like Floyd. I don't think I was ever a huge fan of Floyd, but
All right.
I like Floyd. I don't get me wrong. I like Floyd. Um, I'm just trying to think other bands like obviously Uriah Heep was really I really enjoy their early stuff. I think I get into the more I think the lesser known bands, the lesser band know people know them, but they're not, as popular as some of, like the AC/DCs and Iron Maidens and
Yeah,
Judas
the
Priests
bigger
of the
band.
of the arena, like a small little band called Lucifer. You know Lucifer?
No.
Is it Lucifer? Wait a sec. No, hold on a sec here. Now I'm gonna get uh Hensley from what's his name? From Uriah Heep was in the band before he joined Uriah Heep. I think. Hold on.
Well, you're right. They recorded the song "Easy Living," wasn't it?
Yeah, Easy Living. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, a singer called DC Cooper's done an absolutely brilliant version of that.
Oh, really?
That's released on one of his. That's it, on his self-titled album.
Yeah.
And DC Cooper used to be a singer of a band called Royal Hunts as well.
Okay.
So there's kind of you get a lot of that in music where singers and artists kind of just evolve from one band and then go solo, or then make their own band, and before you know it, he's back into the same band again.
That's weird. There's so many bands and so many musicians that you see they go from one band to the next band to the next band to the you got a guy like what you would call it oh my god I'm drawing a blank with his name now. Oh, that was driving me crazy. Um,
Can you think of this group?
uh, Sabbath. Ronnie James Dio. Sorry,
Yeah, Ronnie James Dio. They
like
started off with a group called Elf.
Elf. Yes, cool
Yeah,
little bit. And then Rainbow. He was in Rainbow for a bit.
yeah,
Um, he's done his rounds, and I've kind of enjoyed the stuff that he's done with all the bands. You know what I mean? Trip hop, yeah, trip hop's some pretty cool shit. There's some pretty cool stuff in there. I was listening to some of the Chemical Brothers. Steve mentions Chemical Brothers. I was listening to some of the stuff. See, I fray into all sorts of stuff, but I mean, I'm mostly like metal, rock, classic rock. That's my kind of bread and butter. But I do fray into other areas. There's that odd band that kind of draws you in and go, "Hey, this isn't bad," you
yeah.
But I can't get into the mainstream shit now, though.
I
You know,
turned my ears off and I listen to mainstream.
no, oh,
Oh dear.
I think my ears are bleeding every time I hear Taylor Swift.
Exactly.
Oh my God, enough's enough. Enough's enough.
I hear them songs all the time over and over again on the radio.
Oh,
Someone playing it on the streets and such, and even the missus or sister-in-law as such are playing it, and I'm like,
yeah,
I hear this song, and it's like that 20 times. I'm like, who sings this again? And I don't even know. Even though I've heard the song so many times, I don't know the artist that sang the song. You guarantee you play me a song that by say Iron Maiden, I'll know it. But something I've heard 20 times on the trot, I won't have a clue who sang it.
yeah. I know. It's because you're not vested enough in wanting to know
Yeah,
who's
exactly.
you
That's
know.
it. It's
Uh,
like me and my partner Donna. She's into Westlife. In fact, her sister is as well. So I'm surrounded by Westlife lovers.
yeah.
I'm not sure if you're familiar with the band Westlife.
No, I don't think I am.
Well, basically, the kind of a lovey-dovey version of Backstreet Boys, I suppose.
Okay.
Basically five singers to sing one song. Well, it's now four singers for the band, but yeah. And I don't like them type of boy bands. I just don't see the point or any reason why you should have like 4 or 5 singers in a band singing one song that just one singer can sing, you know? And
Y-
there's no talent there. And
Well,
three
no,
quarters of the time they haven't wrote the songs neither.
a lot of it's all corporate crap.
Yes, exactly.
Corporate crap, and you know, and and yeah, again, a band. Each person has a talent, and they bring that talent forward, and they mold that band. I mean, your bassist, your lead guitarist, you got your rhythm guitarist, you got your drummer, and you got a lead singer who might play another instrument or not, whatever. But I mean, when you're able to physically gel together and make music, it's something else. I mean, not everybody can do that. I mean, there's so many people that have put bands together, and they just, the music's great, but the vocals suck.
Yeah,
I hate that. That drives me nuts. I'm like, I love the music,
yeah,
but then as soon as I hear the singer, I'm like, what the hell?
yeah. They are like a barbershop quartet, but I'd rather actually listen to a barbershop quartet.
Yeah, at least they have talent, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's scary, but yeah, I mean, there was one band that for years I couldn't stand. I'm like, it's because of his voice, but then years later, I'm like, hey, I actually don't mind them. I really love the music, and that was Rush.
Yeah, I'm not a Jenny Lee fan myself of his
Yeah, a lot of
vocal, but
people, a lot of people
yeah,
can't get into Geddy Lee's vocals, right?
exactly. Yeah,
And I don't know what it is. I just got used to it, right? I mean, I think it was just the music behind the vocals it was so great. But yeah, he's there's no in between. Either you like Rush or you don't. There's no
yeah.
in
They're such
between.
a brilliant band, and they work so well together. Just, I really do admire them for what they are. I mean, they're not my favourite band by all means. They're not exactly up there, but as a threesome, they work so well together.
Yeah, and I mean, when you get a band that's able to do that, I mean, it really turns out to be special. I
Yeah,
mean, when I think of a band that, it just either you like them or you don't. But I mean, the thing is, I just, I think of Led Zeppelin, right? I
yeah,
mean, I mean, when you listen to the progression of their music, and you're like, wow, like the start, like from the first tune from the first album, you're like, holy shit. Like they just pull these guys together, and they just sound like they've been together for, years,
yeah,
you know? And if you can, like, there's a lot of bands like that, but I mean, just, I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I mean, you might think the same about Momstein, right?
yeah. Yeah, I just like his fluency in his guitaring and his ability, his style. For me, it's that classical style that I like, and I love music with classical elements in there. You know, so you mix Beethoven and Tchaikovsky with heavy metal. For me,
Mhm.
that's my cup of tea.
Yeah. Hey, Dre, how are you? Yeah, it's yeah, and guitarists. I mean, some of the greatest guitarists, man, and the way they're able to play is just you're like, wow. I
Yeah,
mean, Momstein, then I look at guys like, Randy Rivers, not Randy Rhodes, Randy
Randy Rhoads.
Rivers,
Yeah,
Randy Rhodes. I think of him, and there's just, Hendrix,
yeah,
like the way they're able to, play the guitar is just so special. And what's his name? Years ago, Randy John. Sorry, what's his name? Oh God, that the old blues guy. Ah, years.
Eric Clapton,
No, no, no. We're talking about years and years and years ago. Eric, not Eric. Something
Jeff
Johnson.
Beck.
No,
Oh,
something
Eric
Johnson.
Johnson.
No, not Eric Johnson. We're talking about years ago. We're talking about
Oh, Robert Johnson.
Robert Johnson. That's it. Sorry,
Yeah, the
Robert Johnson.
Crossroads.
Yeah. When you listen to the music, you're like, wow. You
Yeah,
know, the way they can play the guitar is just like you go, how can anyone else play like that?
yeah, and I think he only recorded like 30 songs or something, didn't he? Something like
So-
that.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, just
Yes.
amazing. And every song was just like one take.
Yeah. Something like that. It's crazy. But that's what I mean. It's when when you got I mean, you see it all the time on YouTube now. These kids, these whizzes that come out of the woodwork and they'll go on TikTok or whatever else, and they'll play guitar. And you're like, wow, it's so cool to see it because there's still an interest in playing the guitar.
Yeah, as years ago, we didn't have YouTube, and everybody used to just sit at home around the record player listening and trying to play along with guitars, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
Picking away at a tune, yeah, and just learning it. But I mean, amidst all of the mainstream music out there, and it's like people go, "Well, rock's dead." It's not dead. It's still there. It hasn't gone anywhere. It's just,
it's still there, but the mainstream industry's forgotten about it.
yeah. I think
It's one side.
I mean the odd time you have a band that pops out of nowhere and you're like, okay, maybe these guys are going to revive it. I think, what was it, a few years ago? What's the name of the band? Mm, they came out of the woodwork. They're out of Michigan. Uh, what's her name again? Oh, Greta Van Fleet.
Yeah,
People thought, okay, these guys are going to revive the scene, and it never happened. At least not yet. But you see these bands that have so much talent, and yet it's like, you know what? They were just born in a wrong time. They should have been born back in the 60s and 70s and maybe the 80s, right?
yeah,
Now it's like, yeah, Eddie Van Halen. Yeah, you know what? You ever listen to his son? What's
yeah.
his son's name?
Wolfgang. Yeah,
Wolfgang. Holy shit, he's actually a pretty good guitarist,
he
man.
is. I saw him on. Oh, what Ozzy Osbourne's?
Yeah, the
Hall
Ozzy
of Fame.
Osbourne induction.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
he is pretty good.
Yeah, he's pretty damn good, man. And I was kind of, well, watching that. I was kind of disappointed at the fucking guys that they had singing the tunes.
Oh yeah, every single was awful. I mean, even Billy Idol won't at his
Oh,
best.
what the fuck were they
No,
thinking about Billy Idol, man? Oh my god, I'm like, he's not even in the same range as
exactly.
Ozzy, you know? And then they had what's his name? Jelly Roll or whatever the hell his name is. What the what the hell? And then dude from Tool did
Yeah,
I'm like, yeah.
I mean the music were fantastic. It was just the singers that couldn't sing.
Yeah, the singers just didn't. No, no, it just didn't do it. It was sad, and unfortunately, you see how Ozzy is, man. You're like going, is this guy got much longer to go?
Yeah, no,
No, he's in bad shape. He's looking like he's in bad shape, man.
Yeah, did you just keep on expecting to wake up every morning and find something in the news that he's passed away? But he keeps on going, doesn't he?
He's still, yeah. Well, they're amazed at how he's still alive.
Yeah, I'm not surprised with well, what he's snorted.
S- everything in, yeah, everything in the
Yeah,
kitchen, right?
yeah, you name it,
Snorted,
including a line of ants.
snorted, drank, whatever. That guy, yeah, that guy definitely has done some historical things, man. Not to mention
Exactly.
the good old bat. I thought it was a rubber bat. Wait a sec.
Yeah,
This doesn't taste like rubber.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, do you actually think he thought it was a rubber bat, or did he, I don't think he did. I think he knew what I was doing myself.
He might have. I'm just gonna shock the audience. Who cares?
Yeah, I mean, it just kind of makes you think because, especially when a couple of years later or so, he walked into a meeting and he was dressed up and he had a couple of doves under his coat and he held these doves and he bit the heads off of the doves as well.
Really?
Yeah, so he's done the same thing with doves.
Wow. Wow. It doesn't surprise me. It really doesn't. He was definitely in some pretty dark and strange places, man.
Yeah,
He definitely was. It just and I think what they ran some experiments with his DNA or something, and they decided to or they had discovered, sorry, not decided, discovered that he had like an extra genome or something with his DNA that is literally the reason why he's still ticking. He's still
yeah,
alive. Yeah, take care, Barry. Have a good night.
yeah.
Yeah,
Ozzy Osbourne's "Blood: The Cure for Rabies."
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's insane, man. Like, I can't think of anybody else. I mean, there are a lot of wild men in rock and metal and so on and so on. But the way he lived his life, like especially after getting booted out of Sabbath, and like, oh man, in the end, I might as well just drink myself and to oblivion and do whatever drugs are possible and blah blah blah. And then the guy just, yeah, it's
Yeah,
amazing.
he keeps on pulling himself back, doesn't he? It's
He
amazing.
does.
It's also partly Sharon's um, doing as well, in a
Well,
good
yeah,
way.
yeah. Sharon
Yeah,
brought, got him out of the fucking the gutter, and yeah, set him straight somewhat. Tried to, for the most part.
yeah,
I mean, I'm sure he had a lot of relapses, but for the most part, Sharon's kept him on the, well, I wouldn't say straight and narrow, but straighter and narrower.
yeah, exactly. She's kind of given him a few kicks up the backside.
Exactly, exactly. Well, Wayne, I think I'm going to call it quits. I think
Right,
this is,
okay.
yeah. But hey, thanks for coming up, man.
Hey, thanks for having us, Steve.
Hey, that's always a pleasure, and thanks everybody in chat. Cheryl, Barry, and
Yeah.
Idra, and Steven, and Laura, and Michael, and whoever else I missed,
Uh,
Melissa, and I think she's gone to bed. But everybody, take care, and we'll see you on the flip side. We're back on Sunday night with the regular show, anyways. I'm sure I'll be popping in here before then, anyways. Wayne, take care. Good night, man.
over
Or
and
should I
out.
should I say good morning to you?
Yeah, good morning. I mean, in about an hour, I should be getting up for kids to school.
There you
Um,
go, man. All right, guys, take care. See you,
right,
Wayne.
okay. See you later. Thanks for having us.
All right, bye.
Bye.